Yo, just a little update before the episode. So I recorded this episode when I was still on Jeju Island in South Korea. But in real time, I'm actually in Taipei, Taiwan now, just in a little Airbnb room. And so far, it's been great. I'm at this neighborhood, Ximen. I think it's pronounced Shimen. And it's so cool. It's like the anime claw machines movies, music, street performers, like just this coolest fucking neighborhood. And I just happened to be here by accident, you know? It's the classic case if you get a cheap Airbnb, because this is just a really old building, and I've just got a little simple room in it, and it just happens to be right in like the coolest neighborhood. But yeah, I'm sure I'll get into it more later, but I'm generally having a very good time in Taiwan so far. It is very cool. It's interesting though, Taiwan is the birthplace of bubble tea. And you can really feel that, this place is about tea. There's tea shops everywhere and everyone has tea. But coffee shops, they do exist, but it's by far the most rare I've ever had coffee be in my life. And the expensive places like Starbucks, it's like cranked up another level of like expensive lattes are even more expensive. So that basic, like, oh, let's try to get a routine going of heading to the coffee shop again every day. I mean, big surprise, but that just hasn't been going well while I'm traveling. It really was. Back in Canada, man, just going to Tim Hortons and getting a coffee for $1.50 or a coffee and a donut for $3. It really does make the process more comfortable to just go to the coffee shop every day. And then, you can go to a fancy coffee shop once in a while if you're in that kind of mood. But yeah, like here in Taipei, there is a Starbucks near me, but it's like $8. And I'm just not going to spend $8 a day to go sit in a Starbucks. It's so expensive. So maybe I'll find an alternative. Maybe I won't. I've pretty much made my peace at this point that this whole batch of traveling, this is just not the place for me to be doing writing, and hence I'm not. But anyway, the point of this update is, if you happen to be listening to this podcast on Spotify, I got warnings some time ago that they were going to start being concerned about what music is in podcasts and if you have the rights to it or not. Of course I don't, I just throw songs on at the end of these podcasts. And I finally got like an official update today that a couple episodes have been removed, and who knows how much that could happen in the future. It's all different companies and how they handle their copyright stuff. Some people get upset about it, some people don't. So I just thought I'd mention, in case you've gotten this far and you're listening on Spotify, maybe you don't care, so what if you missed an episode here or there, but I know, like, I'm the kind of weirdo that I would go back and see, wait a minute, which ones did I miss? And I would go listen to all of them. So yeah, if you just notice in the Spotify listing that there's episodes missing, episode number's not there. If you go to keithcourage.com and just scroll down to podcasts, how to write a novel, there's links to all the different services that this podcast is on. And just a YouTube page. It doesn't really get a lot of traffic, but just for the heck of it, I've been tossing these episodes on YouTube, so they're all on there as well. But yeah, it's a bit of a pain because, I like throwing music in the episodes. I'm not going to go re-edit them all to take out the music, but on Spotify specifically, some of them just ain't there. This is actually probably not the best episode to be making this announcement, because this episode is all about music. So guess I'll cross my fingers that none of these songs upset the powers that be. But anyway, that's the update. Now on to the episode. Hey, welcome to How to Write a Novel. So I'm still walking around Jeju Island. I'm over halfway now. And I just thought while I was walking, a little bit windy today, but I think this will be okay to do a podcast. I was listening to this song that is so insanely good. I was like, you know what? Let's do a music episode. So obviously music comes up once in a while. I mean, I play a song at the end of every episode. And I do get a lot of tonal inspiration from music. I guess the main difference, I do want my stories to kind of feel the way that songs make me feel. But the key difference is obviously a novel is way fucking longer. And I don't especially like when novels are emotionally manipulative, or like trying to tug on your strings too much. Whereas with a song, that doesn't bother me at all. If anything, that's a sign of where it might be the sign of a clunky piece of fiction, it's the sign of a great song. If a song can make you feel a certain way, it did its job. See, I'm going to start with this one particular song, and then I realized I had a couple other songs that I've been thinking about in this context for a while. So let's just do them all. I got 3 songs. And I guess the general idea is, it's that classic where do ideas come from thing. That's never really been an issue for me. I don't know, I just have ideas. That's not the problem. Sitting down and actually writing them all out is my problem. But if you do need some ideas, say maybe you just like the mechanical side of writing more, or you've got the time, or you've got the habit, you've got the routine to sit down and write, but you don't necessarily know what to write about. That's where I feel like this could be really handy. Is you can just take songs that are cool and take the basic themes and elements and ideas, and you could expand those out into a story. Even just as a writing exercise, but I feel like by the time you get to the end, your work will be different enough from the original idea that it'll be your thing. And then, I don't think you should hide it or anything. Just admit it. Just admit, yeah, this is based on this song. I was inspired by this song and I exploded it out into a story. So I got 3 songs for you that are excellent for that purpose. 3 story songs that tell an incredible little story. Feel free to use these songs specifically or just use these ideas. Just this, you could just take this notion and apply it to songs that you like. But I want to start with Casmir Pulaski Day. So how I found this song, there's this harpist named Michaela Davis who I found on YouTube because she did a cover of the Elliott Smith song Twilight, and I started following her from there. And her solo stuff is really good. Her original songs are really good. If you do like her style, a good place to start is the song Cinderella. Cinderella is a super good song, so that's a good indicator of if you're gonna like her stuff or not, is that song. Wow, this really is windy. It's not a bad thing though. Like walking around a fucking tropical island in the middle of the summer. Pretty rough. Today's kind of overcast and it's nice. Keeps things a lot cooler. But yeah, I was listening to her stuff and I just had like a bunch of her stuff sitting on my phone, waiting to be gotten to. And just recently when I was walking around Seoul, this song came on and right away it just was like, whoa, that song, holy crap. The first time I heard it, the first image that came to mind was 2 women who are tentatively attracted to each other, but they're still young and they're involved in the church, and the one woman's father in particular, being religious, does not like it. But then I noticed right away on the second listen that I missed the important detail that one of them also has cancer and passes away. It's just an impossibly sad song. The kind of thing where maybe it's a little too much. Maybe you wouldn't want to do all this stuff, The kid with cancer, then you get into Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl and The Fault in Our Stars, You get into that whole territory. I don't know that I would want to touch it. That's some serious drama. But even if you just pulled it back a step and just made it about the relationship that is looked down upon in your local circles, be it church or be it something else. It's mainly, again, just the tone. You can really just pull from the tone, but if you do want to pull from the specifics, man, the specifics of this song are just so goddamn sad. And then I looked into this song a little more and I found out it is a cover. This was from a covers EP that she did, that in fact that Elliott Smith Twilight cover was also on. This is a Sufjan Stevens song, and he's a guy who I always meant to dive into his stuff more, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. But this really surprised me because his big famous song is Chicago, and it's a super fucking good song. That is a 10 out of 10 all-time tearjerker song. But then this song, which is a 10 out of 10 all-time tearjerker song, is the next song on the album. That kind of blew my fucking mind. I was just distracted by Chicago. I listened to that song a bunch of times and I missed that the very next song is kind of overshadowed. It sort of reminds me a bit of, there's a Devo song called Snowball. It's like a really beautiful, it's a beautiful Devo song, which is a different type of beautiful song. Speaking of beautiful songs, here's the tunes playing at Crab Jack Seafood Restaurant in Jeju Island. But that song Snowball, that's the song that comes right after Whip It, the big Devo hit. So it's a similar thing where I was like, man, there's this great song that I really like, and it was hidden right behind the mega hit this whole time. So Casmir Pulaski Day is a similar thing, and I looked up that name too. It's the name of a holiday in Illinois. So that makes sense because this is from Sufjan's whole album about Illinois. But yeah, the tone definitely changes a bit on Sufjan's because obviously the Michaela Davis version, it's a lot easier. You know, it's natural that I had that image in my mind of two women in a relationship because it's a female voice singing, and, you know, references to the night that I almost touched your blouse. But if I remember right, I think he came out as being gay later on. So who knows? I mean, again, it's not that the song's about him. Who knows? It's music, man. It's conceptual. It could be about anyone or anything. But this song really speaks for itself. You know, I really think it's a story song. It's pretty easy to follow, and yeah, just ridiculously sad. Like, man, what a sad song. So yeah, for the next song, I'm going to go through the lyrics a little more specifically. This one, I would have to just read the whole thing. You know, the whole thing is the story. But there's this one part where, whenever I listen to this song, you know, it starts painting this picture and putting you in this little world, stirring up your feelings. And the part that always gets me, where I really feel the lump in my throat, is Sunday night when I cleaned the house, I found the card where you wrote it out with the pictures of your mother. On the floor at the Great Divide, with my shirt tucked in and my shoes untied, I am crying in the bathroom. I feel like I can't quite hit it. I can't quite hit that note. It's not quite right. But yeah, I mean, if the song is like painting a picture and kind of putting you in this place, that's the lyric where I'm not just in the place, I'm not just in the environment, I'm in that moment, you know? You just feel like you're in that exact moment. Crying in the bathroom. So good. Anyway, it's a really beautiful song. So yeah, again, I'll just let the song speak for itself. Casmir Pulaski Day by Sufjan Stevens, in this case performed by Michaela Davis. What a great freaking song. Super inspirational.
Goldenrod and the 4-H stone, the things I brought you when I found out you had cancer of the bone. Cried on the telephone, and he drove his car to the Navy Yard just to prove that he was sorry. In the morning, in the window shade, when the light pressed up against your shoulder blade, I could see what you were reading. Oh, the glory that the Lord has made, and the complications you could do without when I kissed you on the mouth. Tuesday night at a Bible study, we lift our hands and we pray over your body, but nothing ever happens. I remember at Michael's house in the living room when you kissed my neck and I almost touched your blouse. In the morning at the top of the stairs, when your father found out what we did that night, and you told me you were scared. shirt tucked in and your shoes untied, and you told me not to follow you. Sunday night when I cleaned the house, I found the card where you wrote it out with the pictures of your mother. On the floor at the Great Divide, with my shirt tucked in and my shoes untied, I'm crying in the bathroom. In the morning when you finally go, and the nurse walks in with her head hung low, and the cardinal hits the window. In the morning in the window shade, on the 1st of March, on the holiday, I thought I saw you breathing. Oh, the glory that the Lord has made, and the complications when I see his face in the morning in the window. Oh, the glory when he took our place, but he took my shoulders and he shook my face, and he takes and he takes and he takes.
All right, it's a couple of days later. Let's keep talking about death, because I had a fucking weird day. Though immediately I feel, I guess, self-conscious about being such a little dickhead that I'm even, I had a weird day. But I've been having this problem for a while now where one of my fillings seems to be a bit loose. And it's one of those dental problems that, I could definitely put it off. It's not an immediate problem, but it's like, I should probably really get that looked at. But I sure wish I could avoid it. It's tough to find a dentist when you're traveling in a country where you don't speak the language. But I tracked down a dentist who had some reviews that said he spoke really good English and recommended him. And I finally got up the gumption to go to the dentist's office. And when I got there, the lady at the reception, she had to write on her phone and then have Google translate it to English for me. And it said, the doctor who was my father-in-law died, so there's no service available today. And yeah, my eyes just went wide, like, whoa, all right, my apologies, sorry. I will take my leave now, but holy shit, I didn't expect that. That is unexpected. And obviously I don't know that guy, but it sure is eerie when, like, the very first moment you come into contact with somebody else's life, they just died, they just passed away. And it's also a really overcast, cloudy day. So I just am walking around Jeju Island. And it's just like, it's like that scene in Disney's Robin Hood, where everybody's locked up in the jail and it's just raining and gray and sad outside. And I'm just walking around, and I mean, obviously, I didn't know that guy, but it's just the notion of somebody dying. So that made my mind go to people I know who died. And I mean, my dad just died a couple of years ago. And I'm just walking around and it's all gray and I'm thinking about dead people. And it's just like, it took a little while, but finally I sort of snapped out of it a bit. And I was like, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was doing a fucking how to write a novel episode about songs. Like, let's get back to that just because, like, fuck it, dude, I gotta get my mind off this. This is a weird day. This is a weird feeling day. But I mean, it kind of lines up with that last song I played of just sad stuff happening. And all apologies to all those who have died and who will die and all that. But let's switch to a different topic. Let's move away from that. Because the next song I had lined up is way different. Not at all heavy and sad. This is a kind of a flippant song. This is a whole different vibe. So let's move on to that vibe. The next song is Underwhelmed by the Canadian band Sloan. So Sloan is from my neck of the woods. They're from Eastern Canada, though they moved to Toronto like all people do. But yeah, I've been aware of Sloan since way back, since the first EP they put out. And there was a version of this song on that EP, but then this proper version was on their first album. And they're a band you might not know if you're not Canadian. They didn't really break out beyond Canada, but in Canada they were pretty famous. But for many years I just liked this song just because it's a catchy song. I didn't pay that much attention to what it was really about. But then as the lyrics would just sink in more and more, I realized it's like a perfect little story. It's this perfect little capsule. This little tale of a young stupid man. And I really think this could make a great little character piece, like a little slice of life study of this guy and his trials and tribulations. So much so that I think I'm going to go through the song. I'm just going to go through all the lyrics because they're so clever and neat. But the basic rundown is it's a story about a guy who is in university, post-secondary education, what you might call college. We call university in Canada. And he's a big word nerd. That's where I wonder how autobiographical this is, because the guy who wrote this song, the way Sloan works is all four members write songs and they all sing whichever song they wrote. So it's almost like four little bands in one. And Chris Murphy, who wrote and sings this song, he's a real big fan of like fancy wordplay and double meanings, and just like there's all kinds of Sloan songs this guy has written that are, you go like, oh, that's a clever thing. So that's in full display on this song. This guy is a word nerd. He's all about language. And he's at school and he's got this infatuation, this crush on this woman who, it doesn't say specifically that she's an exchange student. It could just be that she's kind of being playful or messing with him. But the lyrics in specific that made me decide in my version of the story she's an exchange student is there's a sign where she says, "You is funny," and he says, "You are funny." And she says, "Thank you." And he says, "Never mind." Classic Abbott and Costello bit. So maybe she's just doing that to mess with him. But then later on he mentions that her spelling is also awful, which, if she's a exchange student and English is not her first language, that makes that fit a lot better, because Canada's definitely not a country where just everybody goes to university. I didn't even go to university. I could have, I just didn't fucking want to. I feel like if you're tragically unable to spell, you're probably just going to find something else to do with your time and not go to university. But if you're an exchange student, that fits way better. And then there's the line, there's like the dual line. One of them is she rolls her eyes, her beautiful eyes, but then later she rolls her R's, her beautiful R's. You know, that's exactly what I'm saying about, like, he loves this wordplay shit. He lives for this shit. And Canadians certainly do not roll the R's. That's not part of our vernacular. So I think that's plenty of evidence that that's the scenario. He's the local boy. She's the exchange student from a country that rolls its R's. And he's got it for her big time. But she doesn't. You know, she likes him well enough. They're definitely friends. But, you know, it's the classic paradigm of just, you know, especially when you're young, that kind of attraction, the infatuation attraction, it's just not a two-way street. It's it's like military ranks. Some people are above, some people are below. Because I was thinking, like, I mean, I've been in that situation definitely where it's like, oh, wow, that person is like, that's the person I like. And they don't really like me that way, but darn, what can I do about this? But I've been on the other side of that too. Not like a ton of times, but it's happened. I've definitely had girls that were interested in me, but I don't feel the spark. And it's just like, wow, you know, this may only have ever happened 2 or 3 times in my life, but it's still happening. I'm still that, like, it doesn't matter if it happens to you 100 times or 1 time. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it, you know? It kind of helps to contextualize things. Put yourself in the other person's shoes of like, yeah, why should they like me? Because when the tables are turned, I behave the same way. I'm not just gonna date somebody that that I'm not into, you know? So here's the tale of this young man and his doomed infatuation. So let me pull up these lyrics. Let's go through these. Yeah, right away. I mean, the song's called Underwhelmed. Right away, we start with word shit. She was underwhelmed, if that's a word. Obviously, you know, underwhelmed by him. But he knows it's not a word because he looked it up. It's one of the skills that he learned in his school. But he was overwhelmed. He's sure of that word because he learned it back in grade school. So right away, it's like, all right, he can't just say, I was overwhelmed by her, she was underwhelmed by me, without deflecting and, you know, putting up this little barrier of like, he's got to have his aside, like, overwhelmed is a word, underwhelmed, I know that's not a word, I know it's not. I looked it up, you know, like it really paints a picture right away of who we're dealing with, what kind of guy we're dealing with. She said you was funny, I said you are funny. She said, thank you. I said, never mind. And she rolled her eyes, her beautiful eyes, you know? Like, even if she is just trying to be playful, which I feel like in that case she is. Even if English isn't your first language, you probably know not to say you is funny. And then she just rolls her eyes because she can't even be playful with this guy. He's so fucking, you are funny. It's like, yeah, I know, asshole, I know. But the point is not the grammar. It's the feeling that is certainly in my heart, but not in hers. So he's being a little more clear at this point. I never quite realized till you just read it out like this, how fatalistic this is. I mean, he's not confused about the situation. He comes out of the gates just being like, this girl's not into me, man, but I don't know what to do about this because I fucking love this chick. And then we were talking about people that eat meat, and I felt like an ass because I was one, like I do eat meat. She said it's okay, but I felt like I just ate my young. She's obviously a person with a cause, so this is how this guy wants to, he's like, okay, she's vegetarian, I'm not. I feel like a dickhead about it, but here's how I'll rebalance the situation. I told her that, well, I don't smoke or drink. You know, I'm a principled person, I'm a good person. And she told me to loosen up on her way to the LC. The LC is the Liquor Commission, that's what they call. The government runs all the liquor stores in Canada, so the LC in Nova Scotia is what you call the liquor store. Told her that I don't smoke or drink, and she told me to loosen up on the way to the LC. Assuming this song is autobiographical, Chris Murphy was a really handsome dude back in these days, back in his early 20s. So it's not just that this girl might be out of his league looks-wise. I kind of like it even better that it's not that stereotypical. Let's assume it is Chris Murphy. Maybe looks-wise, they're actually sort of on an okay, even keel, you know? But this girl is just way fucking cooler than him. Way fucking cooler, you know? She's running rings around him. She's the vegetarian on the way to the liquor store, and he's the little wiener that's like, well, I don't smoke or drink. And it may not even be true. He might just be trying to impress her, and it ain't fucking working, you know? Oh, and this, wow, talk about the ultimate fucking divide, since this guy's obviously such a little schooly, so into his schooling. She skips her classes and gets good grades. I go to my courses rain or shine. She's passing her classes while I attend mine. I like this line because it's not just she skips her classes and she's still doing good in school, but I'm going to class and I'm failing. It's not that. He's doing fine as well. He's doing well in school. He's a schoolie. But she's doing approximately as well, and she doesn't even fucking go. Again, she's just so much cooler than him. He probably couldn't even, like, conceptualize that lifestyle. What do you mean you're just not gonna go to class? And what do you mean you're not getting punished for it? What do you mean you're still getting good grades? God damn it. You know, this guy is going under. He cannot keep up with this woman. And then this is where it gets kind of neat too, where maybe I don't really think she ever has romantic feelings for this guy, but maybe she does want to have a closer relationship or to be better friends with him. Because this part, she wrote out a story about her life, and I think it included something about me. I'm not sure of that, but I'm sure of one thing: her spelling's atrocious. So she wrote out this story and she gave it to him deliberately. Hey, read this. There's things in here I want you to know. And all he can focus on is like, man, this spelling is awful. She told me to read between the lines, tell her exactly what I get out of it. And I told her affection has 2 F's, especially when you're dealing with me. So just to put a point on it, she's asking him, hey, do you get it? Do you get what I'm trying to tell you here? And he just can't see past, like, oh my God, you wrote affection with 1 F. Holy shit, come on. I usually notice all the little things. One time I was proud of it. She says it's annoying. She cursed me up and down and rolled her R's, her beautiful R's. She says I'm caught up in triviality. All I really want to know is what she thinks of me. I think my love for her makes me miss the point. A very simple little story, but man, I just love that. It just paints such a great picture. And it's so easy. I find it very easy to identify, even though I didn't go to university, but I can identify with that situation. Especially that idea of just being infatuated with somebody who's more comfortable in their own skin and more comfortable in life, when you're kind of a wound up square, you know? But you're trying to bridge that gap. And you're trying to be as cool as her, and it's not gonna fucking happen. And I guess what I would lean toward if I was to write this out as a story, write the long form version of this tale, is the idea that this could be a valuable person in his life. She could be a great friend to him, you know? She could be an important person for him to know. But in order for that to happen, he needs to accept the fact that she's not going to date him. They're not going to be close in that kind of way. He needs to accept that she just wants to be his friend, and he needs to recognize that it's, you know, he needs to see the fact that she wants to be his friend, that she's trying to bridge the gap. She's writing out the story about her life. She's hanging out with this guy. They're going to the LC, you know? He needs to see that it's an upside that she wants to be involved in his life, and that it's not a downside that she doesn't want to date him. But will he be able to? You know, probably not. You know, that's the tragedy of the story, is like he's too young, he's too wound up, he's too high-strung and nerdy and just like insecure. It's like, oh my God, is she gonna date someone who's not me? Forget it, man. I just, no way. I just want to be bitter about it. And just, you know, like I can't imagine him navigating these rapids. It just seems very fucking unlikely. And it's a shame, but you know, when he gets older, hopefully he'll do better. But at this point in his life, and this picture that's painted, it's like he's not a bad guy, obviously. He's just a young, insecure word nerd. He's caught up in triviality, and his love for her makes him miss the point. You know, that is it. That's the story. But again, like I was saying before, it's like this could be it's a great example of, again, if you want to be able to just sit down and write and just crank out words or do X number of hours of writing per day, and you don't want to try to come up with a concept, or you don't want to try to forge together some complicated plot, you could just write about this, or you could pick any song and you could just write about it, and you can make it into a whole story. Every idea doesn't have to be the most unique idea, and in fact, pretty much no idea is really that unique of an idea. But as you write, like even if you just wrote about the scenario in this song, you're just inevitably going to come up with stuff and new wrinkles that aren't in the original text, and new ideas and new things, and maybe it'll just be a slight slant from the original, or maybe it'll end up so different that it's not even recognizable anymore. Though even if that happens, I mean, I say just admit it. Why not? Yeah, I started with that Sloan song, Underwhelmed, or I started with Cry Me a River, whatever, whatever the fuck. And then it turned into this other thing, you know. Don't be an insecure word nerd like this guy. Don't be precious about it. Just admit it. Just go with it. It's just let it flow. Let the ideas, or lack thereof, just flow, you know. Anyway, this song is completely opposite in tone to the last one. So let's listen. Let's listen to Underwhelmed by Sloan, some fuzzy early 90s, the mod rock combo Sloan from Halifax, Nova Scotia, a Canadian institution. And just, yeah, really fucking good song.
She was underwhelmed, if that's a word. I know it's not, 'cause I looked it up. That's one of the skills that I learned in my school. I was overwhelmed, and I'm sure of that one, 'cause I learned it back in grade school when I was young. She said you was funny, I said you are funny. She said thank you, and I said never mind. And she rolled her eyes, her beautiful eyes. Point is not the grammar, it's the feeling that is certainly in my heart, but not in hers, but not in hers, but not in hers, but not in hers, but not in We were talking about people that eat meat. I felt like an ass 'cause I was one. She said it's okay, but I felt like I just ate my young. She's obviously a person with the cause. I told her that I don't smoke or drink. She told me to loosen up on her way to the LC. She skips her classes and gets good grades. I go to my courses, rain or shine. She's passed her classes while I attend mine. While I attend mine. While I attend mine. While I attend mine. While I attend.
All right, it's the next day. I'm taking a day off from circumnavigating the island, so I'm just staying in my home base. It's Seguipo is the smaller city on Jeju Island. There's Jeju City and Seguipo. Seguipo is fucking nice. I mean, it's a bit of a journey on the bus to get back here at the end of each day, but I really like it. In fact, I was here for like 6 weeks, and I had another month or so on my Korea visa. I was gonna go back to the mainland, go to Busan, but I decided to stay on Jeju, stay in Seguipo, mainly so I could complete the circumnavigation, but also just because it's nice. Right now I'm just staring out into the ocean, and there's like it's like a mountain out there that's all covered in trees and stuff, because it's one of the protected, nature type islands. No one's allowed to go out there, and it's just super beautiful. And I'm going on, this is kind of my favorite little route. There's these 2 waterfalls in Seguipo. My hotel's right in between them, where you got to spend a couple dollars to go see the waterfalls. And I did do that. And there's one especially that empties directly into the ocean, and it's really cool. That one's worth $2. Whereas this other one, it's all right as well. But what's neat about it is, they charge you $2 to go up close, but you can see it from above. I'm in this park now, where you just hike up some steps, get in this elevated park. There's some people doing golfy stuff up here, so you might hear some golf noises. But as you walk around this park, there's a point where you can see down through the trees, and you can see the waterfall down below you in the distance. And that, I didn't even know the waterfall was there. So the first time I saw it, I was just walking by. And I was like, what in the holy hell is that? It's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I found out that you can walk along that river at the top of the waterfall. If I circle around, you can go along that, and it'll take you uptown. And it's my favorite, on my little hanging out in Seguipo days, it's my favorite little route to take. So that's what I'm doing today. And let's finish off with the final song. So you're gonna have to stick with me on this one. I mean, assuming you're still here after all these episodes and after the first 2 songs, hopefully I've built up enough trust to ask you to trust me on this one, because the last one is an Insane Clown Posse song, and this is a band that gets a lot of shit, undeservedly. But this is gonna be worth it, man. I'm about to reveal unto you a hidden gem, so just hang on, just hear me out. I actually feel like now that they've been around so long, Insane Clown Posse, I think people are coming around a bit on them. Like, why did we hate on this band so much? It's actually kind of cool that they've developed this whole little following, and I think it's safe to say that their vocal stylings are maybe not tippity top, but their music is actually really good. They have some amazing producers. And what I really like about Insane Clown Posse is they're like a story band. This whole band is like based on story songs. This is not a band where you can just like put it on in the background. I mean, you could if you're just a real big fan of spooky circus rap beats, but you really got to pay attention. You really got to listen to these songs. And this one really stood out to me. It's called Vera Lee, and it's based on this guy Jay from Insane Clown Posse. He said it's based on a girl he knew back in school who was just a girl in one of his classes who was always really frail and sickly. Definitely something was wrong with her, but he didn't really know her, and he didn't really know what was going on. But just all these decades later, he was just thinking back, and he's like, oh yeah, that girl, whatever happened to her? So he wrote a song based on that. And in this case, it's the same setup. This guy goes to school every day. He's kind of a social outcast. And this girl just says hello to him every day. She's one of the few nice people at school. But he really doesn't know her beyond that. And then she dies. And he's, sad about it, but he's like, man, that sucks. And there's a lot of themes that are tying in with all this stuff that's going on in this episode. But yeah, since he didn't really know her, he just carries on with his life. But then this girl starts haunting him. And this is what I think is so cool about this, is that this is such a low-key haunting. This is what really makes this unusual to me and really made it stand out to me. It made it feel believable in a weird way. If a ghost is gonna haunt you, this felt like how that might be, where it's so low-key. It's like she's not scaring him or doing crazy stuff or controlling his limbs, or she's not doing anything. She's literally just there watching him. But no one else can see her. No one else knows that she's there. And she just never stops. When he goes to bed, she's watching him. When he wakes up, she's watching him. When he goes to school, she's watching him. I'm inferring a little bit here. Not every one of these details is in the song, but that's the idea. And it's just that psychological weight of just obviously how crazy this is, and like, how can you ever explain this to anyone? They'll just think that you're crazy, that standard thing. But then she's not doing anything terribly bad. It's just that weight of someone is always watching you. Someone is always looking at you. And he has to kind of piece together how this happened. And the idea he comes up with, which in a story version would be the case, this is what I would go with. Oh, here's the waterfall. Man, that's nice. I actually like the view. I mean, I think it is important to go see it up close once, but I like this view from a distance better. It's so pretty. It's like down in this grove. Just looking at this waterfall. Fucking beautiful. And then behind it is Mount Halasan, which is the big volcanic 2,000 meter tall mountain in the center of Jeju Island. It's funny, like, I'd never heard of Jeju Island in my life till I came to South Korea. And, I just went to Seoul and Busan because I heard of those. And I was just looking at Google Maps and I'm like, now what is this? What is this island down here? And turns out you can fly here for like $45. And it's fucking beautiful. What a cool place. But yeah, what he pieces together is that this girl was infatuated with him. The reason she was always saying hello to him all the time is because she was having these fantasies that what if he was her boyfriend and what if they were together, but she's just so shy and just so completely lacking in energy because she's always sick. She never did anything about it and he never noticed. He's just like, oh yeah, I like that girl, she seems cool. But he didn't realize the weight of what was going on her side. And then when she died, what I think is cool about the way they present her as a spirit is I like this idea that, like, if you die, say you've passed away and for some reason, again, maybe it literally is just the psychic weight that this girl had built up. Just this desire to stay was so strong that she's able to stay. But what you're able to do as a spirit is fantastically limited. All she can do is float there and stare at him. And she can only stare at him because he's the infatuation point. He's where all this energy was focused. The reason she's still here, the reason she's still hanging on is him. But she can't do anything. She can't even talk to him. She can just stare at him. And it makes it like weirdly tragic too, where it's like she's not evil, she's not bad. She's just now stuck in this new paradigm, in this new version of reality where she can't do anything but ruin this guy's life and slowly unravel his sanity and make him go crazy. And it's like not her fault, but also she can't stop now. Now that she is this being, now that she is this spirit, there's no more choice available to her. She's like the villain, she's the bad guy, because she's now in this limited frame of reality. Just her options are harass this one guy or nothing. And she can't even choose nothing. She missed the opportunity to do nothing when she died, Now she's on this other path. And then what's so extra cool about it is how this escalates, where this gets to the point that it's like there's no way he can just coexist in this situation. He can't just allow it to be. Is maybe I'm exaggerating a bit the her not talking part, because the whole point of the chorus is that she's haunting him and calling out to him. But I think of that more as like he just hears her voice in the distance. Or he says at one point, I hear her in the rain, It's like she still can't talk to him directly, but he can never not be aware that she's there. And when it finally does escalate to direct communication, it's every night I hear her in my head begging me to join her with the dead. And that's just, man, that creeps me the fuck out. Like, this is like such a subtle, awesome horror idea of now she is talking to you, but again, she has limited abilities in what she can do and what she can say. All she can say is kill yourself. All she can say is come join me. And the only way for you to join me is for you to die. But she's, again, just always there. It never stops. Join me with the dead. Come on, do it. Do it. Do it. And it's like, that is scary as fuck, man. That is so scary. Like, what the fuck would you do? And then presumably the story would be that he finds some way to exorcise the demon, But again, just like, she didn't want to be this malevolent force. She didn't want to be the bad guy. So it's just double tragic. Tragic in life, tragic in death, It's like, he doesn't feel good about, even when he determines some way to erase her from existence, he doesn't feel good about doing it, but he just has to. There's no other choice. There's no other option. And it's such a cool, creepy song. Vera Lee by the Insane Clown Posse. What a cool fucking tune. So there we go. 3 songs. 3 songs that you could totally use to write stories about. Or, there's also 3 billion other songs in the world that you could pick from. But I thought as a little exercise, I thought that was interesting. I think that's a real neat way to kind of short circuit the process, If you don't want to sit down and come up with ideas and you're stuck, or you just want an excuse to write, it's a great way to point yourself in a direction. And if you need notes, if you're not sure where to go next, or you need a little spark of inspiration, just go read the lyrics again. Just go listen to the song again. See what pops into your mind. Yeah, here's the point where I'm at the top of the waterfall. But all right, I hope you found that interesting. Again, do me this favor. Hang on, listen to this song. Let it play, man. It's so good. All right, I'll see you next time. Adios.
I was never nothing popular, and neither was she. She was kind though, always had a smile for me. I never thought much about her, didn't see her that way. And she was always out sick, missing every other day. Now that I think about it, we was always saying hello. I always figured it was cause we both were people alone. I hardly knew her at all. She sat behind me in some classes. What was really going on behind her glasses? And why is Vera Lee haunting me here with me? Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. When I heard she passed away, I must admit I was sad. Cause of all the mean faces, hers was sweet and always glad. I hardly knew her for nothing, I only knew she was cool. A quiet soul, fragile, slipping through the hallways at school. And now that she's gone, I can hear her crying my name. Although it doesn't make sense to think about, it's insane. But what if I was something special to her cause I said hi? What if she would always dream about if I was her guy? And what if those hellos that we shared went a long way? What if she felt for me like in a strong way? What if she was ill but always tried to make it in just to see me in the halls and share a hellos again? Why is Vera Lee haunting me here with me? Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me carefully. Why? Is she calling out to me? To me?
She was pale and looked so ill and so frail. Maybe she looked at my life and how it's so stale and thought we're both outcast. Maybe we could have each other. It flew right over my head. I never even bothered. Now it's too late, and every night I hear her in my head, begging me to join her with the dead. Man, to think about it so strange. I hear her singing my name. Vera Lee is haunting my brain. I hear her in the rain.
Vera Lee, haunting me here with me. Vera Lee, watching me.